So let's go through here. So let's go at the very end here. The big thing here is the goal was to get your weight up from 99 to 110. Seems like you're almost there, right? So you're now at
Yeah.
105, one third of my goal. That's awesome. And then you put I plan to get my weight fully back at 115, 118. Oh, great. You're up to 118. That's good. Oh, I didn't want to push you too much in the beginning,
I'm
but
101, I'm 105. My
no, I
goal
know,
is to
but your
be
goal.
there by the end of July. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Okay, great. There's no way it could have been possible without T3. Yep, I totally 100% agree. I feel so much better off this medication. My body's responding well. Perfect. Healthy fat diet. Great. So now you're enjoying your fats. You're
Yeah.
okay. Great.
Yeah. My body is just responding differently because the medicine isn't like, speeding through my system. And so I actually feel like my brain and body are connected again. I think I said that the last time. I really feel more engaged. It's
Yeah.
it's amazing. My body is just so much more receptive to the fats and I feel good consistently. I don't have like a massive energy crash between meals at all. Sometimes by the time I realize I'm hungry, I'm able to still do what I need to do. I don't feel like a major energy crash before I eat or if I realize that I'm hungry.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now,
So,
remember your chief complaint initially is cognitive decline and then energy and stamina. So if we go over those now, how are those changes?
so much better.
Much better.
Yeah, so much better. I mean, it's still something that I concentrate on because I think like just brain health in general, as I know that you are an advocate for, is really important. But every day I wake up and I feel great. And it's funny because I feel so good that I forget to like take my blood pressure or weigh myself because I feel good. I'm like, I just want to go, I just want to move and go do stuff. But yeah, so all good
Okay,
things.
that's fantastic. Okay. All right, so I'm getting way back. My digestion still fluctuates at times. I still have to take Imodium. Yeah, you might too. And this microscopic colitis you have maybe an ongoing issue, but just we'll go through. We'll get to it. We just got to get your weight back
Okay.
because remember, body fat it releases adipokines and signaling compounds that modulate everything, and then it's such a significant prostaglandin imbalance with not getting fats in your diet that and that impacts so many systems, including your immune system and your gut function and everything like that. So all the things you're doing is, we're not ignoring your colitis and, and all those other.
Right. No, I understand. One step at a time.
Yeah, one step at a time. Okay, so since last appointment, taking all the supplements prescribed, eating high fats in the morning, including beef, perfect. I follow all the protocols and not have. I do need to. Oh, you still better snacks. I mean, last time we talked, like that was an ongoing battle. Still difficult, right?
Yeah, that's my fault. I'm working on it, but I was pleased to see that I have been bringing up my weight. So at least I know that when I have a lot of like I'll pour like olive oil on my foods or I'll dip my food in coconut oil. So I am making sure that I have enough of that to sustain me between meals.
Okay, Sarah, with your past history, you had those blood sugar hypoglycemic drops.
Mhm.
Are you getting those drops at all? I mean, are you able to snack, or you just even though you have snacks prepared? Or
Well, I can. So like I'll go have like a healthy cookie, like healthy meaning it doesn't have any inflammatory stuff. So I'll have like cookies and things, and I did have some energy, what do you call them? Like those energy balls or the coconut
Mhm.
flour balls. I have made those before and I like them. I absolutely do. So it's something that I really, really, really just, I need to focus on and do it because I will eat the snacks, but that doesn't mean that I don't eat snacks at all. I just don't maybe eat enough as I could, to be truthful.
So let's start with take me through your average day when you first wake up in the morning, what time it is, and then like what you're eating at what time all throughout the day on a typical day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I need to get better at that. So my alarm goes off generally between 5:30. I'm usually out of the room. I'll just gonna give a range between 6:37 latest. Downstairs, make breakfast. My goal is to try to eat by 7. And I do realize that it's usually longer after I wake up than an hour. Um, and but yeah, I'm pretty much eat between, I would say maybe 7 and 8 if I want to stretch it.
Mhm.
Uh, and then I'm usually eating lunch at around
So what's for breakfast? So what's the first meal?
breakfast. I'll have like ground beef, grade B beef, so it's extra fatty, and I'll have that with some vegetables, some olive oil I'll pour all over it, extra salt, and any carbs that could be like a sweet potato or brown rice. Yeah,
Okay, and
and
then
vegetables. Yeah.
Do you notice any difference in your energy after you eat? Do you feel better?
I do feel better, but I generally wake up with a good amount of brain energy to start my day. In the
Okay.
past, I used to start out feeling pretty good and then I would just take a major plummet. Whereas now I have a more consistency when I'm doing it. So if I wake up and I'm really hungry, I'll make sure I eat much quicker. But I'm generally feeling okay in the morning until I get food in my stomach. I don't feel so bad. And then after I eat, I feel good. I feel good, but I don't feel like drastically better. I just feel
Good. Okay.
consistently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So remember, like one of the symptoms, your blood sugar's low, which is going to impact your function,
Mhm.
is when you eat, you feel like you're functioning again, right? Like you couldn't function and now you're eating and now your functions come back. So if it's not as drastic, that's a good sign. But we also want to make sure throughout the day, that's when you become more vulnerable for the drops in blood sugar, especially in the afternoon. And
Right.
especially if you haven't figured out your snacks, if that's happening.
Yeah.
So we got breakfast. What's next?
Yeah. I need to do better with that. That's my fault.
It takes time. That's no big deal. You just have to have the consciousness of it, and then once you start incorporating it, and just like for a lot of people, where you are with just getting up and eating breakfast with like beef and high fats and all this is it takes people a while if they have to do that. It's not easy. So don't.
Yeah, I mean, I used to eat like that, so it wasn't such a drastic change for me, but it was the weaning off of the T3 that,
Yeah.
and I had traveled and stuff, so my eating pattern changed for several weeks, and that kind of threw me off. So the beginning of this year, I wasn't hungry for the first few hours when I woke up. It's just like around the time when we came to see you, and
Yeah.
then I realized my body was still adjusting to not having the T3 in my system. So I think that was naturally slowing my weaning off, kind of slowed my metabolism a little bit, so
Yeah.
that and that's when I had to really be like, okay, now it's just mind over matter. I need to like eat like this again. But I used to eat like that and I loved it.
Great.
Yeah, that's great.
So you have breakfast. Let's go from there. So it's around 7 to 8. You get up at 6, 7, 8. You have breakfast, right? So what's next?
Um, do work, and then I usually eat around, it kind of ranges. I might eat between 12 and 1.
Oh, okay. That's quite a bit of time.
Yeah.
Okay.
One or yeah,
What
depending
do
on
you
the
what do you have? Let's just say it's one.
okay. Yeah, let's just say one. I eat like the same thing I would for breakfast, not beef though, because I have actually gotten really sick if I have beef more than once in a day.
Okay.
Um, so I'll go for like ground lamb or pork or chicken.
Okay.
So I do a serving of that with the same thing, some type of vegetable, green vegetable, and some rice or some sweet potato.
Okay. Now between 8 to 1, you have this gap of period of potential for a blood sugar drop. And if you were to have a blood sugar drop, you would get shaky, lightheaded, irritable. You would eat. You would feel better. Are you having any of those symptoms?
No.
No.
The second I start to feel the littlest bit hungry, I run downstairs and I get myself a snack.
Okay. Great. And when you eat, no big jump in function, right? Okay. So you're pulling it off. You're pulling it off. but we want you to rebuild your adrenal. We don't like one of the things is with your pattern of really low blood pressure and hypoglycemia for a long time, that really just challenges the adrenal glands. And the adrenal glands need a break and they need a chance to recover. So once you figure out your snack, you're gonna have to it can be small. It doesn't have to be much, like it could be a little energy ball or whatever you want to. Okay. So, but it sounds like you're able to compensate. We just want to, just a little bit of something. Okay.
Yeah, no, you're right. 100%.
Okay. So that's lunch. And then what's from there? So that's around 1 o'clock.
Yeah. And then I start making dinner between 6 and 7.
Okay. So
and it can be the same type of foods. It's
what time do you actually eat?
I would say 7-ish.
7-ish. Okay, let's just say 7. So 1 to 7. Okay, so that's another big gap, right? We got a 5 hour,
Yeah.
5 hour, maybe 5 hour plus gap. Okay, so that's the most vulnerable time for people to have the blood sugar drop, like that 3 to 4 o'clock when people have hypoglycemia. Do you notice any of the hypoglycemia symptoms? Shakiness, lightheaded, irritability, the hangry, any of those things at that time period?
No, generally not. I will snack on something, but it's not consistent. Instead of doing it at a certain time, and I had actually put notices on my phone, like snack at this time, to try to keep myself topped up. And I do need to go back into that. So I do I will nibble on something, I will snack on something, but it's just not, it's just, I wait to see how I feel, and I really should be more consistent with time.
Yeah. So same thing, like for right now, we almost don't want you to, think how you feel. Just do it.
Yeah, just do it. You're right.
Little smallest thing. You might have to, you might have to just get in the habit of having your phone alarm go off after breakfast and after lunch,
Okay.
and just
every 2 hours.
yeah, just somewhere in that 2.5 period, because you have a 5-hour gap, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be much. Just has to be something, preferably healthy fats, protein. We don't want it to be like a smoothie or sugar or, fruit. Tried
Right.
mangoes with sugar on them, nothing like that.
Yeah.
M&Ms, nothing like that. Just, high healthy, good fiber, like an avocado with some olive oil or.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
okay.
That's my favorite.
Oh, perfect. So that would be a good snack. All right. So if you do that, it's gonna accelerate your recovery. Okay, because your adrenal glands will have less demands. They'll recover faster. And like I know one of the things you put in here is your blood pressure, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's your current concerns? Increasing my blood pressure hasn't been as easy as I'd hoped for. It's not increased as much as I'd like with a normal range. So a big part of that will be getting your adrenal glands to function much better than they are.
Okay.
Because your adrenal glands also release aldosterone. Aldosterone allows for sodium retention, and the sooner you can rebuild them. Now, listen, you also have to know it does take a long time to get blood pressure back up.
Okay.
And you may never get to 120/80.
Okay.
Okay. What was your blood pressure running? I can't remember.
I actually sent the.
The chart. It's down here. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's look at it. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Yeah.
So I'll admit I didn't do it as much in June.
Okay.
I did mostly in May pretty well.
Oh my goodness. 48. It's getting better.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I have noticed it's definitely
it's way better. Look, so there's systolic and diastolic, right? The first number is systolic and second number is diastolic, right?
Uh-huh.
Systolic is when your heart beats, pushes everything out. What's the pressure of your blood vessel? And then when your heart relaxes, and there's no pressure. What's the there's no fluid pressure from your heart contracting. That's your diastolic blood pressure, right? So during the contraction is systolic, and during the non-contraction is diastolic. So if we look at your systolic ones first, I mean that's overall the trend. It's way better. Like you're in the 90s now.
Mhm.
You're in the 80s. You were hit 90, very like 91, 80s, 80s. You got a anomaly here. Then 80s, 80s, and now as you look towards the last parts here, you're in the 90s, 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 90s. So that's really good. So you're in the right direction, okay? And then diastolic, like 48, 53, that's like, it gets so nervous. Seeing that, it's pretty low. And then, you're getting in the, you're starting to get in this, 60s here. You get a 58 here, which is, there, but overall, this is definitely better. Okay. Heartbeat is, you don't have to necessarily track your heartbeat, but it's nice to have it. These are pretty average, pretty consistent. Okay. There's a lot of variability between heartbeat versus blood pressure. So just that one single thing isn't that impactful. Okay. So, are you salting with enough? Are you salting foods?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. And you're still using that Adrena stem cream? Okay. Because that has licorice in there, and licorice helps with sodium retention. So that can help your blood pressure levels.
Yes, the last couple of weeks I didn't use it as much as I should have. It just slipped my mind. So I put more notifications in, so I remember to use that at the right times in the morning and late morning.
Okay, perfect. And then if we look at your symptoms here, okay, we'll start with. So let's go back to your forms. Systolic blood pressure. Okay. Oh, you grafted? That's nice.
This man is encouraging of that.
I mean, it looks like a bell curve, but that's not how we're looking at this data, because it's just you over time. You look at a population at time, people are like, oh, it's a bell curve. No, it's not a bell curve. It's like you're seeing an upward trend. If you look at this, if you break it by quarters, and second quarters there. This one,
graphic by date would probably be better.
Yeah. Okay, here we go here. This
Just
diastolic.
from Google Forms.
Yeah.
Very helpful.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, your heart rate is like some days your heart rate was up maybe for who knows why, but it's pretty consistent. Okay. And then overall, those look pretty good. Okay. So this is just basically the amount of time you were at 59, the amount of time you're at 61, the amount of time you're 63, right? That's what this graph is showing us. Like 4 times you were at 63. 16.7% of the time you're between 62, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is more accurate for us.
Okay.
Because this is a linear timeline,
Yeah.
It's still nice if you have, it's easy for you to do. It's fun to look at, it's looking at graphs.
Yeah.
And we can always break it into dates as opposed to being by, the frequency, whatever.
Yeah. If you can give me a linear graph over time, that'd be better.
Okay.
Since this is your thing.
It's definitely a thing.
Okay. Let's look at your brain region localization form. This is pretty good. So, when you look at these forms, you want everything to be 0 to 1s. I know you had a lot of frontal lobe symptoms in the past. So if I were to look at your forms today and not knowing anything about your history and just saw this form, I would say, okay, maybe something's happening with the frontal lobe because there's a 3 here, but not very much. The rest of this pattern looks pretty good. These are all in the 0 1s. Those are all pretty good there. Now, I know you have some exposure to food proteins that can really mess you up. Yes. And we know you had those neurological antibodies that showed up on the SARX-RA5. So you have that susceptibility for neuroinflammation and autoimmune reactivity. Have you had any exposures past couple months with any foods?
No. Well, yes, I had, I guess it was just the peppers, like paprika, chili flakes, chili powder.
Yeah.
But that hasn't been since before we chatted last. Yeah. So I've actually been pretty good since our last meeting. Yeah. That's the only thing that causes me like pretty much an immediate reaction that can last a number of days.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, that just means you figured out your triggers. So you're not having these unknown triggers. Like you got it nailed there. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So then if we look here, mental and energy stamina, we talked about weight gain, which is a good thing we want to do. Reduce full body inflammation. Do you feel your body is totally inflamed?
Sometimes I do. Like I've been doing yoga and I still feel like my recovery is unnecessarily uncomfortable. Yeah. I feel like my body it's overstimulated and overreacts to the recovery. And I've never in my life have I been able to like work out and gain muscle. I've never been athletic. So it's a goal that I have. I would actually love to build muscle in my body. I would love to build leg muscles, arms and stuff. And as I just do yoga, my muscle recovery from doing the stretches and holding the stretches can last a number of days where it's just very uncomfortable. So I'm still doing it.
Yeah.
But it's something that I really want to target. I think my body's very quick to get into an inflammatory state. Mm-hmm. So it's just difficult for me to kind of gauge that and say, okay, well, how do I remedy this without not working out?
Right. The only times you do feel the full body inflammation though is specific to working out, right? If
working out or high stress.
Or high stress. Like
yeah.
Emotional stress.
Right. Or the paprika, of course.
The paprika.
Peppers, yeah.
Okay. Well, we don't want you to stop doing what you're doing. So
no, I definitely won't.
Maybe we just need to have your prostaglandins continue to catch up with you. The thing is when you see someone who's had chronic patterns for a long time and they start getting on the right track, swaying from it is like done with caution, like you don't want to, you want to be careful. Okay, well, let's see what's going on with your symptoms here. So diarrhea, we already talked about. You had that colitis pattern there, constant skin outbreaks too. Is that something new or?
Not super new. I go through some cycles. So I was on Accutane, I got off, miracle drug, but I'm getting like lots of bumps around my nose.
Okay.
So it's like tiny little acne, but it's just not going away at all. And then I put the medicine on it and then I kind of get like a rash. So I don't know if maybe that's just, and I've been getting it on my hands too, because I do have an allergy to like antibacterial soap and the alcohol wipes and stuff. So I avoid them, but sometimes if I have an exposure, it'll stay with me for like a couple of months. And then my whole body kind of just goes haywire on my skin, and then I heal, and then I'm fine for like maybe a year.
Okay. All right. I don't think we need, okay, we'll just keep an eye on that.
It's that serious, but
Yeah, I know. The good news is you don't have a lot of blood sugar drop symptoms here. So that's really the area we're about from your previous forms. Okay.
Mhm.
And if I go down here to 8. Okay. Afternoon weights. Dizziness when standing up quickly. Tell me about that. Just occasional.
occasional, not often. But I do realize if I get up really quickly, it can happen. But it'll happen like during the day. It won't happen like in the morning.
Okay.
It's like if I take a lie down and then I get up really quickly, it takes like I kind of feel it in my brain.
You get lightheaded, or do you get like dizziness and actual rotation and movement?
Lightheadedness.
Okay. Yeah. So as your adrenal glands retain more sodium, and you get that response of, because what happens is when you stand up, you have a pooling of blood,
Yes.
and then your arteries have to constrict, so you don't have that pulling of blood happen too much. I mean, you have your veins that are part of the picture, but there's also some vasoconstrictive roles that have to take place. So as your blood pressure and adrenal functions improve, we typically see that change. So we'll go with there. Okay. And then nervous stress, high amounts of stress. Yeah. Can you do anything about that?
Yes, I do lots of meditation.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, lately it's just been a lot because we've had a lot of things happening, but they're all good things. So it was kind of me like, I really hope this works out, blah, blah, blah. And things have worked out. So yeah, not under high stress anymore.
Well, your thyroid symptoms look really good. Hypo symptoms, they seem to be minimal. And then here you get a little bit of symptoms here. These we just need to wait on and just see how, as your prostaglandins, as everything improves, how those things change there. Okay. And then we do blood pressure. I think we covered all of that. Okay, so let's go through here. Okay. So we talked about what you're doing. Okay. What do you hope to accomplish at the appointment? Clarity around next steps, if anything. I don't know if I would want to change anything.
More snack.
The key thing is you just got to set your alarm right after lunch, right after dinner, because you may not be completely, you may not be super hungry, but we're trying to get your adrenal glands to recover. So when you stand up, you don't get lightheaded. We're trying to get you to get your blood pressure back up. And you're pretty good with taking all the supplements and everything, right?
Yeah, that's easy for me.
That's easy for you. Okay. Now, I was going over the initial plan and report, and the goal is just to remind where we're at. Okay. The goals of clinical management: stabilize blood sugar levels and prostaglandins, which you're doing, increase body weight to 115 to 120, which you're headed towards, and then investigate autoimmune triggers, and then prenatal support, and as you transition into that stage. Okay. And then the phase one was you to get your follicles tested at AMH, which you did, and everything was perfect. No concerns there, no big rush. Now there's time to get you as healthy as possible, have a healthy pregnancy. And then we did array 5. We found some of those neurological autoantibodies that were there. So now that explains some of the severe neuroinflammation symptoms you get when you get exposed to foods. And then so you're in this phase 1. You're doing everything in phase 1, which is then also to increase your dietary fats, so you can balance your prostaglandins, work with your endocrinologist to get your T3 levels reduced and figured out. So you've done every part of the phase 1 steps, and good job. So
thank you.
Done a great job. Okay. And then the role of phase 2 was to then dig in deeper to the autoimmunity, like what's going on with the chemical load, what's going on with chemical immune reactivity, reevaluate your serum mercury levels that were high in the past, right? And then take a deeper dive into the whole autoimmunity, so we can optimize your thing there, issues there. So I would say I would just continue what you're doing for another couple months, and then phase 2 we're going to need to get lab testing again, and then we can organize when we want to do all that stuff. But I would say get to your ideal weight, get to that 115 window, like you're on track for.
Yeah.
And we can jump into step 2. And once we get into step 2, looking at chemical load and looking for other triggers for autoimmunity is also part of, a healthy prenatal prevention, prenatal workup, getting you as healthy as possible, that there's no immune inflammatory chemical triggers that are there. And then we'll just transition into that. Let's say once you get to 115, something like that, and run phase 2.
Awesome.
Right. Perfect. Any questions for me?
Yes. So you are leaving on a sabbatical. You return in September.
I just I'll be gone the month of July.
Okay. So I'm just trying to think in my mind. Yeah. So I should be able to meet the goal, and the next time we meet, I would imagine that would be phase 2.
So we can meet in 2 months. We can meet in 3 months. Which one feels better for you?
So you said you're going to be gone for July?
Yeah. We can make either 2 months or 3 months work. So those are both out.
Maybe meet in August.
So is that 2 months?
That's 2 months.
Yeah, it's 2 months. And then
I can't count 1 and 2, but it's 2 months.
I know it's going by quickly. And then that way I can start to plan for what I planned for I would plan for blood work maybe to get it done in September. I could do that.
Okay.
As I'm
let's see where we are in 2 months from now, and then we can coordinate if we're going to move into phase 2, and do we want to start measuring all the chemical loads and immune related markers and all those things.
Wonderful.
Okay. Good to see you guys always. Have a great day.